Hello and welcome to the programme.
Coming up tonight, tributes are paid to a mother who drowned off the east coast as the search for her missing teenage daughter goes on.
A blast of the Arctic. It's sub-zero temperatures and snow for North Yorkshire, with the threat of more to come.
Draw of the Roses. It was honours even as Leeds hosted them.
And from on the oche to on the tools, we go back to work with Flockton's champagne Charlie Manby after his heroics at the Ali Pali. Well, first tonight, a teenage girl is still missing after she was swept out to sea off the east coast 3 days ago in a tragedy which claimed the life of her mother and another man.
15-year-old Grace Keeling from Sutton in Ashfield was knocked into the sea at Withensea by a huge wave on Friday afternoon. Her mother, Sarah Keeling, who was 45, died after going into the water to try to save her. Passerby Mark Ratcliffe, who went to the pair's aid, was pulled unconscious from the water but died a short time later. Well, let's join Sally Simpson live in Withensea for us this evening. And Sally, what's the very latest?
Two communities reeling tonight from the tragedy which unfolded here on Friday afternoon, as each day brings another agonising wait for more news. Here in Withensea, they're grieving for Mark Ratcliffe, a stranger who went into the water to try to help two people and lost his life in doing so. 100 miles from here in Sutton in Ashfield, they're mourning the death of Sarah Keeling, a mum who lost her life trying to rescue her 15-year-old daughter Grace from the sea. She is still missing tonight and search and rescue operations are ongoing during daylight hours. Tributes have poured in not just to the three people involved in this tragedy but to the dozens of emergency workers, volunteers and members of the public who've worked tirelessly in recent days and are still doing so tonight. A mother and daughter making memories at the coast one minute and the next tragedy unfolding. Sarah Keeling dead and her daughter Grace missing, so far lost to the sea. The teenager was on these steps overlooking the beach when a huge wave crashed onto the shore and swept her away. Sarah quickly followed to try to save her daughter. Without a moment's thought for his own safety, Mark Ratcliffe followed the pair into the sea and met the same fate. He was dragged from the water but died soon afterwards. Today, as the search operation for the teenager continues, a steady stream of people have been to lay flowers and take a moment to reflect on the tragedy which has rocked communities in two counties. Adam knew Mark Ratcliffe. He was his friend Nigel's dad. Only now the reality of his sacrifice starting to sink in.
Honestly, I think, Nige, if you see this, mate, I'm here for you. Get in touch when you're ready. Honestly, your dad's a hero and shouldn't be forgotten. So, Mark Ratcliffe, and to the other two as well. Absolutely devastating thing that's happened here in Withensea, where I've grown up all my life. We used to, as kids, go near the rough seas. Oh, see if no, this is what's happened. The sea intrigues you out, and it's three lives have been lost, and it's devastating for the whole community.
A huge rescue operation got underway when the alarm was raised at 3:10 on Friday afternoon. Eyewitnesses said people tried to help after they saw a young woman get swept out to sea. RNLI volunteers, HM Coast Guard and Hornsea Inshore Rescue, all among those involved in battling treacherous conditions and freezing temperatures in a rescue mission which quickly turned to recovery. Paul owns the cafe which overlooks the scene of the tragedy. He says it's affected the whole community, his staff among those who dashed to help.
Obviously horrific, just a tragic accident, and at the same time heartening in terms of how everyone has shown their love and support for the families, especially now that they're named. There's been some amazing shows of unity and support from the community. This community is like that anyway. I won't lie, it's been tough. It has been tough for everybody, coming to terms with it. but just essentially wanting to help.
Under leaden skies, people continue to come to pay their respects to those whose lives have been lost and the teenage girl whose fate is still unknown. Well, in the wake of this tragedy, the region's MPs have added their condolences. The Ashfield MP, Lee Anderson, says he's beyond devastated at the news that Sarah Keeling has died and her daughter is missing. Graham Stewart, the Beverley and Holderness MP, said in a community defined by care for one another, it's no surprise that Withensea has shown such strength at this difficult time. Well, temperatures are sub-zero here, there's snow on the ground. The hope now 3 days on is surely that the sea will give up Grace's body to her grieving family.
Well, Sally Simpson live in Withensea for us. Thank you very much. Devastating for the whole community there. And there's much more coverage of this story on our website. Head to itv.com/calendar.
Next to an Arctic blast for large parts of North Yorkshire, with snow and sub-zero temperatures presenting a challenge for anyone heading out and about.
Yes, it also meant an extra day's holiday for some youngsters, with a number of schools closing their gates. Well, Greg Easteel's been in the hills around Whitby and the North York moors today.
2026 off to a sub-zero start. The 6 a.m. -3 morning commutes on the moors, more heavy going than getting going. A well-drilled team, though, was out from 3 a.m. to try and help clear a path.
The high ground's worse with this wind picking up, isn't it?
Many people caught out so far, or how's it been?
There's been a few. That road's been shut down there. There's another road shut down bottom with a car stuck crossover in it.
All that grit and determination paying off by first light, as even buses made it through on high ground. Some drivers, though, clearly haven't been so lucky. The packed ice under falling snow proving too much on a tight bend. Just down the road at Fylingdale's filling station, Jackie Merkin was clearing the way on a garage forecourt for the few customers who made it in. What are the drivers saying about the routes when they're coming in? What have they told you? It's not easy out there, is it?
No, it's not easy. It's the drifts and the blizzards.
This is supposed to be the first day back to normal after the Christmas holidays, but it's looking anything but normal up here on the moors.
It's the coastline, unusually, that's borne the brunt of the snowfall this time around. Whitby freezing under its winter coat this morning. January's big chill closed schools too on what was supposed to be the first day back after Christmas. But few will have been bitten harder by this big freeze than the fittingly named village of Raw by Robin Hood's Bay. Marlene Pickersgill and her husband honest about how they're coping.
With difficulty at our age now. Normally we go out and stretch our legs and go walking, but we can't at the moment.
Next door, their neighbour Amy Metters are making the best of it with animals to feed and jobs to be done.
I think it's been somewhere around the low minuses, -2, -3. I know it's 6.5 degrees in the house.
Right.
It's cold in there, but yeah, it has been nippy. So
6 months ago, these same sites were sweltering. Now they're shivering, and Raw and plenty more are bracing themselves for at least a week of it.
Well, some beautiful pictures there, but obviously very difficult to get around. And Greg is at the weather station in Loftus for us by the North York moors, where the last few days have seen steadily colder overnight lows, even though it looks beautiful behind you right now.
Yeah, that's right, Laura. For the benefit of the uninitiated, that little white box behind me that looks like a beehive is one of our official weather stations. And as you say, the numbers over the last few nights have been on the kind of sliding scale that we've seen across the region. -1 on Friday, around -3 on Saturday, and last night around -5. Now tonight the low's -2, but it's the feels like temperature that really counts. That's the one that factors in things like wind chill and humidity, and that, wait for it, is set to be -8 tonight. The effect of that, of course, is not only making it hard to heat our homes, but also very difficult if you're out on the roads. There's due to be snow here tonight as well. And when you think about that falling on already compacted ice, well, it's a recipe for some hard going, especially on back roads like this one that are far less likely to see the gritting teams.
Greg Eastill, thank you very much from Loft House. Well, you're watching Monday's calendar, still to come. We head back to work with the bricky turned darts player who just won himself a 60 grand Christmas bonus.
And we'll catch up with Leeds rower Jake Still, who's currently powering his way across the Atlantic Ocean. More of the day's news, and detectives in Wakefield have begun a murder investigation over the death of a man who was found unconscious at his home on Christmas Eve. 79-year-old Stephen Jadnak was taken to hospital and died 3 days later. Police believe he was the victim of a targeted assault.
The family of a former Sheffield United footballer say they're frustrated that it will be almost 3 years since she died when an inquest into her death takes place. Maddie Cusack took her own life in September 2023. Today, Chesterfield Coroner's Court heard the inquest had been due to start but was postponed just before Christmas. Sheffield United's legal representative said the club met the deadline and the coroner placed no blame on the club. A provisional date is now set for June the 29th.
It is frustrating. We were ready to go, weren't we, for January. Christmas is hard enough as it is without learning a few days before the deadline that we were due to go. It's been tricky. Christmas has been difficult for a number of reasons, not just because of obviously another Christmas without our beautiful sister, but you know it doesn't weaken us. We're ready. We're going to be ready to go again, and we just want to make sure that it gets done properly. I personally will wait as long as it takes to get a proper inquest done.
The death of Anne Maguire, who was stabbed to death by a pupil she taught in Leeds, sent shockwaves through the education world and prompted calls for teachers to be better protected. Yet, 12 years on, there are still a frightening number of attacks in our classrooms and corridors.
And things appear to be getting even worse. Last year, there were more than 800 school staff were injured by pupil violence, far more than the year before. Chloe Oliver has been speaking to one teacher about her experience.
Well, what we had was threats of violence. We had physical violence, so lots of shoving, biting, kicking, spitting, and also damage where equipment was thrown across the classroom, as well as that extreme verbal abuse.
Wendy Exton had been teaching secondary school children for 30 years, but after being subjected to almost daily abuse from pupils, she decided to quit the profession altogether.
What point did you think, I can't do this anymore?
It was when I got targeted by one particular student, and he made it his mission every single day to come into school and make me feel as uncomfortable as possible. And he targeted me physically as well, so I was going home black and blue.
How worried were you for your safety?
Totally worried. I didn't know what to expect walking in each day. You didn't know whether there was going to be a knife, whether you got a child under the influence of drugs, whether you were going to be punched, or what was going to happen. You were just walking into the unknown every single day.
In the last year, 1 in 4 teachers in Yorkshire and the Humber have been physically assaulted by a pupil, according to a survey by the Teachers' Union.
I'm looking at child-on-child abuse or assault.
This school is one of thousands taking part in de-escalation training, with the aim of empowering staff to effectively communicate with distressed students and reduce the risk of anyone getting hurt.
Violence and aggression in schools and these kinds of incidents have been with us for a long time, but certainly over the last couple of years we've seen an increase in concern from head teachers and other leaders at schools about the rise in aggression, distress, frustration, anxiety, and the issues that come along with that I think we are seeing an increase in issues of violence. Staff are definitely more concerned about the implications of that, and schools are rightly, because they have a duty of care to everybody in the school environment.
A recent survey of 6,000 teachers found 40% experienced physical abuse or violence from pupils. 85% had been verbally abused, with many reports of pinching, hair pulling and objects being thrown. As the level of violence in our schools continues to rise, so too are the calls for more action to be taken to better protect both pupils and staff. Chloe Oliver, ITV News.
Well, earlier I spoke to Matt Rack from the Teachers Union, which is calling for urgent action to tackle the problem of violence in schools. And I started by asking him why such a rise in abuse against teachers has been reported.
Yes, I'm sure viewers will be shocked at the figures that are published and some of the stories behind them. I think there's a range of factors behind this. In some cases, it's a lack of consistency in policy and how policies in schools are applied. I think we have to look at the impact of 15 years of austerity and cuts to schools, to the number of staff in schools, to the support that individual children with individual or special needs have, to the cuts to youth services.
What kind of an impact has this rise in violence had on teachers and also on recruitment, getting people to come into the industry to work?
Yeah, nobody should be going to work expecting as a norm to be threatened, abused or hit in some way, and teachers shouldn't expect that either. Sadly, in some cases that is the reality that we face. So this needs to be tackled. It needs to be acknowledged as a problem first of all, and it isn't everywhere.
So what can be done in reality, you know, for parents who are sat at home listening to this, what can be done in the classroom to make sure that teachers feel safer?
Well, you make an important point about other parents, because poor behaviour affects not just the teacher or the child concerned, but the education of all children. So it's an issue for everyone to face up to. We need, first of all, to recognise the scale of the challenge, and that is not always the case currently. That needs to be done within individual schools, within individual local authorities and employers, and at a national level. And then we need a discussion about how that can be tackled through consistent policies that people understand and are then applied consistently. And then, as I say, this discussion about the resources which are lacking in our schools and which have played a part in undermining behaviour in schools.
OK, Matt Rack, thank you very much for speaking to us this evening.
Thank you.
Well, in a statement, the Department for Education told ITV News all pupils and staff should feel safe and protected at school and should never face violence or abuse. The government inherited a broken system, it says, and these shocking figures highlight concerning issues with behaviour in our schools. Our plan for change places a relentless focus on giving every child the best start, no matter their background. Right, well, that takes us to the sport now, and Arif joins us for the first time this year. Nice to see you, Arif.
To you.
It wasn't a happy new year, was it, at Ellen Road yesterday?
No, there was no season greetings, was there, between both sets of sports? And nor would we expected any, especially for this fixture as, like the weather, there was a frosty reception as Leeds United took on rivals Manchester United.
Powering local sport in the community. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
But first, we start with some sad news. The club announced a Leeds United fan suffered a medical emergency inside the stadium before yesterday's game and sadly passed away. The supporter has not been named and no further details have been released. Our thoughts are, of course, with the family and friends of that supporter.
Yes, it is really sad news, that, isn't it? But the game went ahead and it was a draw. Do you think that was a fair result?
Yeah, I'd say so, Lara, because it's 16 years since Leeds last beat their bitter rivals, Manchester United, and they came close to ending that run yesterday at lunchtime. Brendan.
So satisfied with this draw today. I think we wanted to win. I think we felt like before the match we could win this game. We had the right energy and everything.
We've already seen on the programme the effect the weather's had on travelling around parts of North Yorkshire, but it was the weather that had a big impact on some of the football yesterday.
Oh, it certainly did. It was bitterly cold yesterday, wasn't it? And 5 games in all were called off due to the bad weather in the Football League. Sheffield Wednesday wish, well, the whole season would be called off because, well, we all know about their issues. An injury-hit squad lost 3-0 at QPR. In League One, despite the cold, Bradford enjoyed a trip to the seaside. They got back to winning ways with a 2-1 victory at Blackpool. And it's back-to-back draws for Huddersfield Town. They were twice pegged back by Exeter. And Will Grigg headed in a late equaliser for Chesterfield at MK Dons.
So that's the football. There was another, well, vintage performance from Joe Root, wasn't there?
Oh, it was incredible, Lara. He just gets better In betting, there can be no complaints now of Joe Root being one of the greats of the game, as he scored his second century of this Ashes series. As he so often does, the Sheffield-born batsman steadied the English ship with a knock of 160 to help the visitors reach 384 in the first innings of the fifth and final test.
One thing I always try and look at is opportunity. I don't know how many opportunities I'm going to get to come back to Australia. Obviously last week was great to win at the MCG, and I guess that presented another opportunity here this week, and to try and, I guess, help us get in a position of strength within this game early on. Thankfully got it right to a degree today.
And finally, from me, fresh from dazzling the crowds at Ali Pali over Christmas, darts sensation this man, Charlie Mamby, has been brought back down to earth with a bump. The 20-year-old from Flockton near Huddersfield is a bricklayer by trade, and this morning was back on a freezing building site getting his hands dirty, and Chris Dawkes has been to meet him.
Back on the building site this morning, yet it was less than a week ago. Charlie Mamby was bringing the house down.
Family looking on, and Mamby's dream debut continues.
The 20-year-old from Flockton near Huddersfield made it through to the last 16 at the World Darts Championship at Alexandra Palace.
It was a bit surreal to start with, and then, you know, game by game I felt a lot more comfortable. But yeah, I was very nervous at the start, but you know, I got used to it. It was a great feeling. Obviously, I think the crowd were always on my side, which were always a good thing, you know. And there's 4,000 people in there shouting your name and singing your song as you're walking on. Yeah, it's a great feeling. I really enjoyed it.
You must have felt like a rock star, didn't you?
Yeah, almost, yeah.
Champagne Charlie, as he's now known, began throwing darts at just 8 years old with his dad at the local working men's club. A talented all-round sportsman, Charlie is nearly as good scoring goals and taking wickets as he is throwing 180s. But until now, darts hasn't paid the bills, so Charlie works as a freelance bricklayer.
For the past 3 years where I've been doing this job, it's been my main income, and you know, I actually enjoy it, and it's just a good laugh on site, and you know, you're getting a good week's wage at the end of it as well. You know, you've always got something to fall back on if the darts don't go your way.
He's just a character, you know, he's just that guy that's that'll bring a smile to everybody's face. He's, you know, when things might be getting a bit tough, a bit down, he'll be there dancing it background and just making everybody laugh. Yeah, so that's what he's like. He's just a good all-round guy.
So I've got to ask you this, Sam: is he better at throwing darts or laying bricks?
Good question. I'd say throwing darts. He's still got some learning to do.
You earned what, £60,000 from what you did at Ali Pali, and have you thought about what you're going to spend it on yet?
No, not quite. Maybe when it hits my bank, I'll have a think. I need a new car, so I'll probably look at one of them, and maybe a watch. I've always wanted a nice watch, so yeah, we'll just see.
Well, every chance he can get, Charlie is honing his skills, because later this week he's at Q School, aiming to earn a 2-year spot on the professional darts tour. So if successful, well, this lot might well miss him at work, but they'll probably be glad to see the back of him at the on-site hockey. Chris Dawkes, ITV News.
Yeah, good luck to him at Q School. Nice car wouldn't be bad, would it? It was a nice little reward.
Yeah, brilliant.
Excellent.
I mean, £60,000.
Not a bad Christmas bonus.
It's not, is it? It's really
I'll give you
good.
180 for that sports
Hey.
score. Brilliant, thank you very much.
Thank you
Now,
very much.
finally, while many of us have spent a first day back at work today, others were putting in the graft, you know, all the way through the Christmas holidays,
Yes,
Lara.
I know you were, Ian White, I know you were, but none more so, actually, not you, but Jake Still from Leeds, who was on his own in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. You weren't doing that, were you?
I wasn't,
You
certainly
were in
not.
the studio on your own. The 27-year-old novice rower is currently taking on one of the world's toughest challenges. He took a quick break to speak to our man, Martin Fisher.
Spending the festive season alone in the middle of the Atlantic might not sound like much fun, but for Jake Still, it means he's on course to achieve his dream of rowing across the ocean. He set off from La Gomera in the Canary Islands mid-December.
Getting up at like 4 a.m. to start rowing for a good, pretty much all day, another long shift. But I did take the time to do something really special. 1,000 miles at sea, ringing up my mum and dad on the sat phone, wishing them Merry Christmas.
Jake is supporting the Rivers Trust, and he's been training on the River Aire for his epic adventure. Dubbed the world's toughest row, It will see Jake cover 3,000 miles.
Every day today is different. It's those days where it can be really frustrating because you're not making any progress because the waves are all choppy, they're all splashing about, and you're getting whacked, and it's all pain.
Jake has to deal with waves of 20 feet, extreme weather, as well as sleep deprivation.
The toughest part of this challenge is the mental battle you got to deal with every day of doing a 16-hour shift. Hands hurt because they're covered in blisters. It's hard to sit on the seat because I've got skin rash and stuff like that. It's all sore. My knees are cut up from the oars bashing each other.
Jake's row is helping to raise money for the conservation of rivers and waterways. He's already completed over 1,000 nautical miles and is currently in the mid-Atlantic.
Every time I put in a new waypoint to set the course I'm going to for that day, instead of a waypoint, I call it like a mum point. Because every time I put in a new waypoint, mum point, I'm basically ever so little closer to seeing my mum again. Yeah.
All being well, Jake should complete his challenge at the end of January at Nelson's Dockyard in Antigua. An admirable effort from this solo adventurer. Martin Fisher, ITV News.
Oh, he's going to do it. He's going to be fine, isn't he? And his mum must be so proud. So if you're watching, what a fantastic lad he is.
Definitely. Nice to have you back, by the way.
It's lovely to be back.
Did you have a nice Christmas?
Yeah, and New Year. How about you?
Yeah, lovely, thank you.
Yeah,
it was
whilst you
good.
were
I did
working.
get some time off. Right, here's Nick Miller with the weather forecast now.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Well, it's a very cold start to 2026, and although we all haven't seen the snow, at the coast there's more snow than sand at the moment, and inland in the sunshine it is still literally freezing. And an amber cold health alert continues across the region for the rest of the week. A reminder that we may know someone who struggles in this sort of weather and may appreciate some extra help and support. Though there are some changes on the way this week as high pressure gets squeezed southwards. We're going to cut off the flow of bitterly cold Arctic air across us and bring something less cold in from the Atlantic. Though still cold enough with weather systems moving in, we could still see some snow and ice, and the potential is there on Thursday night into early Friday. It's a could rather than a guarantee, but we could see some significant snow. We'll keep an eye on that. For now, another very cold evening and night is underway. The snow showers today have been through North Yorkshire into the North York Moors. They're clearing back into the North Sea, but icy conditions remain with the Met Office yellow warning and temperatures well below freezing for another hard frost into the morning. A very cold sunrise at 8:23 and a sunset which is now after 4 p.m. And into that cold start tomorrow will bring some cloud and some patchy light snow that may give a dusting in places and slippery conditions into the morning, mostly across the Pennines into the Dales. In the afternoon, plenty of cloud and slightly less cold, 3-4 degrees, but in a freshening breeze, it'll still feel close to freezing. And then tomorrow evening, a messy mixture of rain, sleet and some snow, mainly towards the Pennines and Peak District moving through. Another icy start on Wednesday morning, then a couple of quieter days before that potential for snow on Thursday night into early Friday.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
It certainly is cold out there. I went out at lunchtime. Oh my word, it was freezing.
Absolutely, yeah, really, really cold with the threat of more snow to come during the week. Keep an eye on the forecast.
And keep warm. Take care out there, won't you?
Yeah, I'll be back at 10:30 from the whole calendar team. Thanks for being with us. Happy New Year and good night.
Bye.